Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this first meeting of the municipal year of the Planning and Community Committee. First item on the agenda is appointment of chairman and vice chairman. So we can invite nomination for chairman for the municipal year. Any nominations for chairperson?
Can I suggest Philip Wicks?
I'll second that.
Seconded. Congratulations, Philip.
Is that it?
You're winning.
Yes. Sorry. Go on. Can we vote on that?
Are we voting?
Yes, can we vote on
We
that?
don't have much choice, so yeah.
No, we have to do it.
Fabulous.
That's unanimous.
And can we have a nomination for vice chair?
I'll nominate Jenny. I'll second that.
Okay. Can we vote on that, please?
No, scared, isn't it?
3, 4. Any against? Any abstentions?
I suppose better abstain.
So that's 2 for, 2 abstentions. We don't have a vice chair.
Oh, well,
But we do have a chair.
Sorry, I just didn't put my hand up because I wasn't paying attention to that. If I vote, does that mean we get a vice chair?
It would do, yes. Otherwise, we're going to have
Yeah,
to.
sorry.
Yes.
No, God, no.
That's
No. I'd like to say, sorry, I'd like to say, that was a lack of voting, he's not paying attention. So,
Okay, if we could just vote again on the vice chair.
There you go.
It's
Can
councillor
I
chair
vote for
for vice chair.
myself?
yeah.
If you've done that in the first place.
Okay, that's fine. That's 3 for, none against, and no abstentions.
I shall hand you over to councillor Wicks.
Right, so I've not got out of it after all.
Don't forget the name, Philip.
Sorry?
Don't forget
Oh, my name.
You might forget the big parts.
That would be unusual. Names are not my strong point. Right, good evening everybody. So may I welcome you all to the 17th of May meeting of the Planning and Community Committee of Woodley Town Council. I advise all attendees that the Council reserves the right to record and broadcast this meeting. And anybody attending the meeting will, by virtue, consent to having their audio recorded for this purpose. The Town Council is consulted by Oakwood Borough Council on planning applications within Woodley, but the final decision of approved or refused is taken by Woking Borough Council. We will notify Woking Borough Council that the committee's views, which may include any comments or concerns expressed by members of the community affected by the application. So if anyone has got any comments to make on any of the planning applications, then can they formally write or send an email to Woking Borough Council Planning Department, as they will take the final decision on the application. So we can move to the agenda. So we're looking for apologies, please, Matthew.
We have 3 apologies from councillors Nagra, Sartorel and Soane.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? No? Okay. Item 4 is the minutes of the Planning and Community Committee meeting held on the 26th of April. And now these meeting minutes were presented at the full council on the 10th of May. Has anybody got any comments to make? No? Thank you. We can move on to item 5, which is current planning applications, which is Appendix 5, page 5 in the agenda, of which I think there are 7. I've got that right. Item 1 is 220535, which is 92 Loddenbridge Road. And this is an application to vary condition 9 of the planning consent with regards to the protection of trees, and the variation is to substitute the arboricultural method statement with a tree protection plan. I think this is a reversion back to what it was initially. I've got comments that we should maintain or object to removing condition 9. I suggested that tree preservation will be looked at for the large beech tree. And then I've got one other comment. If the TPO is applied, I'm not objecting to removing condition 9, but I'm not convinced, and we prefer to keep condition 9 until any tree protection order is in place. So have we got any comments to raise on that, please?
I think condition 9 was put in on purpose, and you know, it stays.
Any other comments? So we'd like condition 9 retained?
Yeah.
Is that what
So,
the feeling of the committee is? Yeah?
I mean, yeah, they wouldn't do the TPO in the intervening period, but sorry, my thoughts are there. But I think they go into an awful lot of effort not to look after a tree, aren't they, on paper? So how much effort they're going to put into not wielding a chainsaw? I think it's got to be, keep the objection.
Okay, so we'd like condition 9 retained.
Yeah.
And what about a tree protection order? Do we think that is something we should consider at this stage?
I think we should, otherwise it could be too late.
Yes.
So sooner the better.
We were in agreement with that. So can we ask whether the TPO on the beech tree in 92 on Bridge Road, please? Apart from that, we're not happy on it. Okay. Item 2 then is 220938, which is the wing Sanford Manor and Sanford Lane. This is a replacement of what appears to be a bit of a ramshackle wooden garage, from what I can see, with a two-storey new garage incorporating a home office on the first floor. It doesn't appear to impact on the neighbours, but perhaps we should make a comment to that effect as my only comment. I've had comments back. One comment, and the other one is so out of the way and invisible I can't see an objection.
I can't see him properly.
Are we happy with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Number 3 is 221125, which is 27 Wyndham Crescent, a conversion of an integral garage to a home office. There seems to be adequate parking to the front. My only comments have been no comment and no objection.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Next one is 221206, which is 33 Telford Crescent. This is a garage conversion into habitable space, a new window, first floor ensuite, some changes to the windows. My comments were as a conversion of the garage to a snug, assumed not a room to rent, ? Modifications to first floor bathroom to provide additional facilities that results in another window to the side of the building at the first floor level. Responses from others, there's no objection, and no objection, very sensible. I just put the comment in about not a room to rent because of the Airbnb scenario. I don't know whether we should consider things like that.
I don't think we've got any power to do that, or Woking Borough have, I think.
I'm sure.
So to wait and see. I mean, a separate dwelling, yes, you can make a
Yes.
comment, but what they're going to do within that dwelling will be down to their mortgager.
Okay, so we're happy with that one. Item 5 is 221256, which is 137 Longridge Road. Single-storey rear and side extension following demolition of the conservatory. We've had one comment from a neighbour who has concerns about an agreed, it looks like it was already agreed, gap of 400 mil between this property and the neighbouring property to enable some form of maintenance to be carried out on gutters and downpipes, etc. And I think apart from that, I've had no other comments. Is everybody happy that we don't have any objections subject to that being retained?
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Okay, thank you. Right, next one is 221278, which is one either way. Household applicant conversion of a garage to habitable accommodation, first floor side extension. And I've said it's building onto the existing garage. There's concern from a neighbour about loss of light. I think there's some correspondence about that here. To that at the moment. To move from 3 bedrooms and a study on the first floor to 4 bedrooms and a study/bedroom. Garage converted to a snug and store. And the drawing shows the garage doors remaining at the front, from what I can see. Which is a bit odd, but I've had comments back. I don't think it will significantly affect the neighbour's lights. Obscured glass in bedroom study is that likely to stay, obviously. The other one, I'm not sure I fully understand the potential light impact on next door. I think that the orientation of the house will make the change minimal. However, I accept that I'm no expert and it's likely to be a question for officers. So no one appears to have any particular concern. Yes, Caroline?
Yeah, I think the idea of having a bedroom with obscured glass is what they say study/bedroom. You can't police that really, but I think the comment should be made that it's not a good design if you have to obscure glass a bedroom window. Just made that comment.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
There'd be a condition, I presume, before that.
The objection we've got from the neighbouring address of 3 says the extent of the proposed elevation on the northwest side will reduce the light available to us at all times of the year, making our conservatory, bathroom and ensuite dark. At present we receive natural daylight into these areas well into the day. The proposed elevation will reduce this light, which is very important to us, especially in the conservatory, which we use all year, by about 2 hours in the spring and 4 hours at the height of summer. I think all we can do is to say we have no objection, subject to taking the neighbours' comments into account. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. And finally, item 7, 52 Walmer Road. This is proposed single-storey rear extension with pitch roof side extension to existing garage, changes to windows. Convert the garage to become part of the house. Note, this appears to be attached to number 54 Walmer Road, which should not affect appearance. New extension to the rear of the garage area and part of the adjacent rear room. The width of the garage area, which is at the back, is increased to meet the existing house line. Other comments have been no objection, and one comment I don't think you would know from the outside, no objection. No objection. Okay, so we don't have any problem with that one. That's all, isn't it?
We'll make up for it next time, because we can withdraw that.
If I can move then on to item 6, which is the planning decision, which is on page 6. There only appears to be one issue. Sorry, yes, Carol.
Yeah, it was about this item. I was really pleased to see that it was contrary to Town Council recommendation. If members remembered, I spoke strongly against this one and was voted down. And the reason I gave are exactly what the refusal has given, which is excessive mass and scale and incongruous design, although I didn't use that word. It would disrupt the rhythm of the street of the development, the street development, and impact the street scene, which was virtually what I said. And I'm really pleased to see that they've got it right. This committee got it wrong.
Okay. Any other comments, Marie? No? Can you move on then? Item 7 are really just to note some tree preservation orders. 3 Malone Park, the rear of Secretary Road, a maple. Woodland 368 Fairwater Drive, an oak. And the 11th Anthony Close, another oak. Crown reduction to the southwest and northwest by approximately 1.75 metres. Do I need to read through this, or are you happy to take it as read?
I'll take it as read.
Yeah.
I suppose the TPO.
Okay, because it's only there to note anyway, so. Okay, if we move on then to item 8, Sandy Park Bailey Bridge. We've had some response, I believe, Matthew.
Yes, we received response from Woodley Borough Council regarding that after the last meeting. I've included the response in full on Appendix 8, and I had a phone conversation with Andrew Fletcher from Woodley Borough Council about it, which basically stated exactly what was here. The real crux is that I think the selling of the land in Taylor Wimpey to the company which is Lavelle's Trust, Wetland Trust. Lavelle asked for Taylor Wimpey's support in not opening that bridge. So Andrew was, having had conversations with Taylor Wimpey, was certain that they were not going to allow it to that bridge. Andrew also said, I'm not sure he's talking here, but I know he said that the £30,000 funds that were given for the refurbishment of the bridge anyway would not cover the refurbishment that would be required of that bridge, but they were putting in requests for that money to be transferred to another project.
Is that a recognised footpath?
The footpaths are public footpaths up to the point of the bridge, but the bridge itself there's an argument as to whether it is 50% owned by Taylor Wimpey or 100% owned, but regardless, Taylor Wimpey would not permit anyone to cross if it was the whole bridge, which they suggested is, or 50% if it was shared.
Carol?
Yes, the argument about increasing the usage if the bridge is opened is a bit spurious really, because you can access the land on the left of the bridge, if you like, on the Lodden Park side of the bridge with your bike or walking, and you can access the other side as if it's a no-go area. Once you cross over the bridge, you can easily get to the other side, walking or cycling. So I just don't understand this idea of if we open it up, there'll be more people. I don't think it's going to be a huge flood of cyclists or walkers going through there, but those people that do walk will have that access. I think 30,000, it's not a huge sum, but Woking Borough was originally going to add some money to that to deal with the bridge. I think that should be used to actually construct another bridge over, because there's nothing stopping Wokingham providing a crossing of that river to allow Woodley residents to get over to her side and vice versa. It would mean adding some more money, I think, to that. But to say that that would go towards, they're going to add other SIL money, so there is some other money that could be added to build that bridge. And they're talking about the gaps in the informal path network and the benches. Cynical me thinks, I bet those gaps in the informal path network aren't in Woodley, and I don't suppose the benches will be in Woodley either.
No.
So we lose again, and I think we should be writing back and stating those issues, and ask that it was originally, or just emphasise originally that deal with the, shall I use the word deal, with the developers was to provide a benefit for Woodley, and we lost it. And there should be something to address that loss.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything? I'd be minded to agree with you, Carol.
I'll second that. It'll just disappear into a hole, won't it?
That's right.
So we happen to write to Wokingham and say that we're not happy with that decision for the reasons that Carol's outlined. Are we happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can. Can I do that? You take the Carol.
Yeah, I'll probably ask Karen if he can help me to pay something tomorrow, if that's all right. That would really help. Yeah, really.
Right. Okay. We can move on to item 9. Community speed right.
Christ, that came round quick. I've got a lot to report and not a lot to report. Unfortunately, family illness has sort of put me out of action for 2 weeks since the last meeting. But we're starting to move forward again insofar as we couldn't find the program necessary to operate the data logger, but we have now managed to find it and it's been downloaded. Unfortunately, that program at the moment is not linking to the drivers in the computer, so we've got to find a way around that. It could be because this is hypothesis on my part, but I think Tom Barker and John McNaught, when they did it originally, were both using Vista, Windows Vista. And of course we're using Windows 10. So I've picking up all the icons, I've got the computer. So from tomorrow I will see if I can get hold of the company concerned and see whether we can download drivers for Windows 10. Then we can get it start operation. All the batteries have been charged, they're fully charged, they're ready to go. I've set up today a special email account, so it will be david.bragg-speedwatch@woodley.gov.uk. So anyone that's got any comments at all regarding Speedwatch or areas they would like us to have a look at, they can email me at that address and then it will come up immediately. It won't get lost in my personal emails. I've got the list of prospective volunteers, which I've got to email, but I've been waiting for that email address before actually sending the email out. So the email to the volunteers will go out later on this week with once I get responses from the volunteers, I can then get them logged on to the Community Speedwatch programme to give them ability to go through the training and take the test. But not until one of those volunteers complete the test and pass the test can we actually go out and start operating with the camera. That's where I am at the moment. I'm working through it as quickly as I can, but I mean, in fairness, I think it's going to be probably August before we can actually go out with the camera, because I want up-to-date information on the speeding in certain areas before deciding on location for the cameras. Karen?
There was a piece on Facebook of some people doing Speedwatch down Foster's Lane. Shirley Boyd was in the photograph. That's her ward, which is presumably why she's there. But what we were told last time was that Speedwatch couldn't be used unless we got signs up saying Speedwatch.
That's right, yeah,
So,
that is correct.
Yeah.
Shirley Boyd set up the Bullmarsh and Whitegates
Yes.
Speedwatch, so I will actually make a point of telephoning Shirley.
I saw her today and I completely forgot to mention it.
And speaking to her about it, but they shouldn't be operating in Foster's Lane.
They shouldn't. I mean, they can because it's in their ward, I suppose. But
Well, no, Foster's Lane is it Bullmarsh? Well, yes.
yes.
If it comes over Bullmarsh, yes, they can operate in it.
But if they had actually got somebody, they couldn't have done anything about it. Would there be actually any comeback on that they?
Yeah, it would be invalid from the police point of view. To my understanding, having spoken
That's
to
what I
the
thought,
attorney, if anyone that is caught on that without the signs in operation,
It doesn't.
can appeal that they weren't aware they were in a speed watch area and get off.
I wonder if they know that. But, yeah. Okay, thank you.
That is certainly my understanding of the situation, and it is made quite plain in the
It's what the policeman said when he was here.
in the video that you've got to go through to take the test.
David, they have to go in twos, don't they, as well?
Got it. Well, if they've got a camera, which is on a tripod, you can do it in twos. If it's a handheld device, there's got to be 3 people.
Right, okay, so you need at least 3 people trained.
Well, we need at least 2 because we got our cameras on a tripod, so we only need 2 to operate it.
And I understood that we had to have signs at every entrance to...
We've got to have signs at every entrance to Woodley to say it's a speed watch area.
I haven't seen one. Has anybody seen one?
No, Matt, as you've got the signs, I believe, Matt, haven't you? We're just waiting on highways to arrange a date for...
Yeah, it's all arranged for
installation.
highways at Woking Borough Council, so I have put in the request for them to do that, so I'm waiting for them to schedule the works to get it done, yes.
So there are 9 roads in. I know Bardaway, Butsell Road, Reading Road, Woodlands Avenue.
I've got a list that I sent to Woking of the 9 entrances that I can work out, and I've asked them to use their highways knowledge to check that and sense check it.
Yeah. So, you know, that is as far as we've got with it at the moment.
The other thing to note with the signage is obviously you don't have to have them at every entrance if you have a sign within a certain distance of the activity. So you could have a movable sign that you could...
That is something that they could be doing. If they put a speed watch in program in course about 100 yards down before their camera and the other way, then yes, they would. That would be okay. But if we have them at the entrance to Woodley, it's not necessary because that tells people they're entering, and while they're there, you know, they've got to obey the speed limit.
Okay, all right, thank you, David. Any more questions on speed watch at the moment? No? Okay, thank you. Item 10, early station footbridge, an update. I'm waiting at the moment for Andy Glencross's to arrange the next meeting. I wonder if perhaps the time is right now to prompt that. I also believe that there is an inspection due this year, and I don't know when the date of that is, so I'm wondering if we can write to him, Matthew, and ask him 2 things. One is the date for the next meeting, if it's been arranged yet, and 2, does he have a date yet when the inspection of the existing footbridge is going to take place? Because that will have a major effect on potential decision taking and timescales. Anybody else have any comments to raise? Is that all right? Okay. Item 11 then, we've got community issues. I know there's a couple. One is e-scooters. You had some correspondence, I believe, from Woking.
Yes, so a couple of meetings ago, Councillor Baker made a recommendation that this committee added an item to a future agenda to get a Thames Valley police officer to attend to talk about e-scooters in the precinct. We discussed that after the last meeting and agreed that we would go ahead and ask that. I sent a letter to Thames Valley Police the day after the last meeting and I had a response today. I'll read the response because it's quite helpful. They said, thank you for your recent correspondence in regards to dangerous cycling and e-scooting in Woodley Town Centre. There has without doubt been an increase in the use of e-scooters across the area. PC Downstone ran a local operation targeting the illegal use of e-scooters in the town centre on Saturday the 30th of April when a number of individuals were stopped. There remains quite a lot of uncertainty around the legal use amongst purchasers of these e-scooters, and our approach has to date been one of education. However, we now feel, as the local policing team, that a move towards enforcement is required. We welcome the opportunity to discuss the matter in more detail and will endeavour to attend your meeting on the 14th of June.
Right. Has anybody had any experience? I mean, I had some experience of e-scooters when I was on holiday a few weeks ago, and they were terrible. They were on the pavement, and you just don't hear them come in. Before you know where you are, they're almost running over your feet. But you may have different viewpoints.
There was a video on social media in the week of one at 3 o'clock in the morning going up the outside lane of the motorway.
I mean, they are terrific fun, but they belong on the roads like a bicycle, not that, you know, I know that well, it's the difference between something being a toy and something being a mode of transport, isn't it? And, you know, I mean, I think
But there
needs to be some national legislation to cover it in a more sensible manner, doesn't there?
Yes, but they seem to have replaced all the electric bikes and all the other bikes in London with e-scooters now. There's a large proportion of them, I've noticed. So it seems to be a growing trend. I guess it's cost as much as anything else, and the fact that they're far more portable, aren't they, than bicycles?
I think the worrying part about them is the speed that some of them are able to attain. I think 30 miles an hour is the top speed on some of the high-powered ones, although the average is 12.
Well, you can only walk at what, 5? 12 is sort of slow bicycle, isn't it?
I think I mean, they need to ultimately land on the same rules as an e-bike. So my electric bike goes 15 miles an hour, capped, no, 12, sorry. Mine might get 15. But it's capped at 12 miles an hour, or it's a moped. And then you have to buy road tax, have it inspected, MOT, and all that kind of jazz.
Right.
And I don't see why you wouldn't end up with exactly the same situation with these kids. 12 miles an hour is absolutely terrific pace to buzz into town. You know, it makes a commute from Woodley to Reading 10 minutes. And I think it's a case of by having proper rules around them, the illegal ones then become enforceable. Whereas at the moment it's just a free-for-all where everything's illegal and tarred with the same brush. You end up with a significant fine if you're caught with a 30 mile an hour e-scooter, which is clearly dangerous. I mean, they're not vehicles designed to travel that speed, are they? But realistically, with a bit of legislation around them, I think they're quite a good idea for transport, but they're not for messing about within the precinct, are they?
No.
That's the bottom line of it. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what develops. I think there was something in the Queen's speech, wasn't there?
So do we want to respond to...
It was buried in a load of rubbish.
Well, if we've got somebody coming to that meeting, I think that would be the time to...
Just drop them a line, say yes please, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that yeah, we happy with that?
See?
Okay. Highways issues, apart from resurfacing. We need to do resurface Woodley, I think, at the moment. No
Well,
problem.
going back to the last one and the Highways Committee, anyone using those electric scooters are effectively on the highway in the precinct.
I did see a note that they were actually not only illegal on the road, but they're illegal on the pavement. But I don't
Yeah,
think that's
definitely.
true.
And they shouldn't be on the pavement. It's not a, you know, it's a bicycle by
Yeah.
any other description. So
So,
you wouldn't want to hit a pothole on one, would you?
so my comment on highways really
Yeah.
is resurfacing requirements really.
Yeah.
We've got a number of Woodley roads which are in quite a poor state. I've noticed some signs have suddenly appeared to show they're uneven roads, but I haven't actually seen anybody with a shovel and a spade to actually dig them up and start relaying.
So it would be interesting to see if they're going to keep using that horrible spray on tarmac stuff. I know it gets the job done quick, but Nightingale Road's already fallen to bits, and they did that a couple of years ago. Nightingale Road? Yeah, it's Nightingale Road, isn't it?
Hand drive's terrible.
Yeah. Anyway,
The list is quite long, isn't it?
we'll see what happens.
All right, okay. So we move on then to item 13. You should have some electronic copies of the Woodley Volunteer Centre e-news in May and the ME2 Club newsletter dated April. If you've not had those, you can just drop Matthew an email and he'll send you a further copy. Item 14 then, do we have any future agenda items? Yes, Carol?
Yes, I was at a site meeting today of the Friends of Woolmarsh Open Space, of which I'm a member, and somebody from Early Town Council and representatives from Woking Borough Council. We've been talking for a long time about planting more trees on the open space and enhancing the area as well as protecting it, which is what the Friends are all about. Come up with a plan which was put to Woking Borough, and we have got some support from the officers as to what they can do. So we've got the offer of some trees. Stupidly, I thought they were going to be trees similar to the ones we've got down Woodlands Avenue, but of course they're going to be 1 metre high sticks. Anyway, so they're on offer. There's quite a few options, and these were discussed on the site visit because this is, on the back of a long discussion last year, I think. But it does involve Woodley Town Council because of the impact it may have on Woolmarsh Park, and to look at the area as a whole. So as the open space, which is the Woolmarsh, playing fields, the permissive path up next to the cricket and then into Woolmarsh Park and onto Town Lane. So you've got that whole area. So I think it would be good, and I have kept the Town Council informed, but I think an agenda item on the next planning committee where we can discuss some of the options and see if people are happy to go along or otherwise with what's being proposed. It's not going to happen quickly,
No.
but
Yeah, no problem with that.
Mm.
Can we do that, Matthew? Please?
Absolutely, yeah.
We can. Anything else? Anything that needs to go onto the website? Publications? Are you happy with your responses to Speed Watch?
At the moment, yeah, I've had a couple of people volunteer to help me, besides Richard at the last meeting.
Put up the ladders the other day. You just shout, I'll
To
shout.
put up the equipment. Obviously, if we put out anything too soon, we could find ourselves inundated with there's speeding in Vauxhall Drive, there's speeding in Arundel Road, there's speeding here, there's speeding there. And, we're going to have to work through them.
Okay, all right. So we've got nothing new to go at the moment.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay. Item 16 then is some enforcement issues, which are on pages 12 and 13. So, enforcement 51 entry, there appears to be too close to the neighbour and not in line with the approval. Items closed, 6 handled, second story extension to the back without planning permission is submitted an application.
One thing, Philip, on that, we are getting lots of retrospective planning applications.
We are.
Why? People must realise that they can't put a second story on a house without planning application. All right, if it's single story, you can sometimes argue that we thought it would be under, protected planning rights. But with a 2-story extension, this is becoming a little bit monotonous with application after application.
It's okay, Carol. Yeah, I seem to remember it 18 months to 2 years ago we went to work and I made a comment that under the CDM regulations, if you understand what they are, construction design management regulations, then the company that's responsible for the design, which is the architect or someone else, is required to ensure that the owner of the property understands what they need to do and that the builder shouldn't actually go ahead and start building until they've got permission. But I get the impression that builders ignore that,
Ignore it.
or
Yeah.
householders ignore that and don't take any notice of their specialists, always assuming that they get told anyway.
Yeah.
So, Carol, we wanted to say
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is anything new. It's been like this for donkey's years. I think what's good is that the enforcement officer, you know, they're picking it up,
Yeah.
which is why we're getting the planning applications. So, yeah. And I had a comment, if you want to take it as well, 81 Robin Bridge Road. I can understand no breach, but it says other. Do you have any clues what an other is?
It could be a number of things, but normally it means it's being parked for another reason. It could be that it's being shipped off to a different department. It could be that it's being managed by a different process.
No.
They don't have a way of recording that on there.
So that's other.
I know when I spoke to them that day, that, for example, they had one that was about their own land, and they said it came up and it was put as other because it was being dealt with internally by another
That's what the computer
process.
says, yeah.
They only have a set number of parameters that they can select against.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have asked the question before the Councillor Baker, because he was on planning, wasn't he, in working about what other means, and he did say there were a number of sort of odd categories that they just used up because they didn't have anywhere else to park it. But there are a lot. I mean, I think what perhaps a lot of people mistakenly think that permitted development covers a bit more than it does, and I wonder if they might sort of using that excuse.
Just suspect they know there's no consequence.
Maybe Woken and maybe us should do something on the website just to make sure that people understand that they should apply for planning or check that they need planning before embarking on some new builds.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
So maybe we should do that. Maybe we should look at putting something on the website, just as a polite reminder.
Yeah, I think that's, why not? Why not? Civic reminding.
I mean, I would guess most householders have got no idea when they're supposed to apply for a planning application.
Well, they're all builders, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
This is the point. What builders? They have to rely on the experts, who are the designers, and the designers, in my opinion, are not doing their job. That's just my feeling. I'll document that. Yes, Okay, so we need to go through the rest of these enforcement approaches. We've got 7 to 10 Brecon Road, untidy fence, voluntary compliance. 80 Coolbeck Drive, unauthorised conversion of loft without planning permission, no breach. 81 Rotten Bridge, large building, partly built in the rear garden without planning, other. 21 Buccaneer Close, publicity and run from home without planning permission, no breach. 14 Tippins Lane, large building in the rear garden without planning permission, no breach. 2 Penrose Avenue, breach of condition without landscaping, no breach. And 2 Penrose, breach of condition of application 210902, no breach.